Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Happy holidays. Guess who's coming to dinner? Live and in living color. I don't have a lot going on with my set because, as you know, I was moving. So I thought I'd dress up and be your Christmas tree or your Christmas decorations for today. A lot of things going on. I've got a theme for the rest of this month until we start doing encore conversations during the Christmas, 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's Eve. And that is called Home for the Holidays. You know, there are a lot of Louisvillians that live in other cities that are movers and shakers and doing things. And some of us know about them because they're our relatives, and some of us know about them because they're our good friends. But I wanted to share some folks that I know that are doing things and making things happen. And that's one of our guests that we're going to have for you tonight. But before then, I want to let you know that for the rest of the month, we're going to have a tour. One of our shows, we're going to do a tour of Roots 101 since they've moved. I had Lamont Collins on when he was down on Main Street next to the Fraser. But now that he's moved over on Washington Street, and I've taken the tour of the museum. And if you have not taken the tour, it would be a wonderful thing to do during the holiday season. And another thing to do is Roots 101 has been nominated as one of the best new sites to see in 2021. And you can vote for him. Go to Roots 101 Facebook page and you can find out more information about that. You can vote every day, but these are venues that are all over the country. And it's an honor for Louisville to have one of our own venues, especially an African-American museum as one of the nominees. But today, let me tell you, I had a faux pas. I had a brain freeze evidently last week. And I blew my interview with Mr. Juju Papier. So tonight, I'm going to present to some and introduce to others my friend and my forgiving friend, Mr. Juju Papier. Hello, darling.
Hey, how you doing, Joseph? It's great to see you as always. You look beautiful as always.
Thank you.
You know what? I love that intro too. That is nice.
Is that all right? I'm working on it. I'm trying to do new and kind of upgrade what I'm doing because I want to take the show to television, to network TV or cable.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Can
and
you
you're
see
perfect.
that?
You are perfect for it. You are perfect for that. Yes.
Well, thank you, sweetie.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to. So now, are you born and raised in Louisville?
Raised in Louisville.
Okay.
I was born in Buffalo, and
okay.
then, by the time I was 4, we were in Frankfurt, and then from Frankfurt to Louisville, and then been Louisvillian since then.
You are a Louisvillian. You know how to say it, a Louisvillian. That's good enough.
Yeah.
And I remember that I told you that it was your dad that was my French teacher.
Oh yeah.
At Shawnee, that really made an impression on me because I lived in Paris for 5 years.
Right. Yes, I know that.
And Mr. Papier was his whole flavor and his savoir-faire. That je ne sais quoi. He had it all. And it was, I guess I didn't realize how much it made an impression on me. Mm-hmm. Because actually, I not only took it in high school, I took French in college.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's how turned on I was about learning this language.
Wow.
So tell me about your road to the arts.
That's interesting. So yeah, my mom sang opera,
Okay.
And like you said, Dad, he was Haitian. Dad
Okay.
passed away several years back. He was Haitian, and
Okay.
they were both big people, big as far as who they were, big in stature.
Okay.
Um, and at home, you know, Dad was an incredible storyteller. And he
Okay.
was the type of man who would tell you stories, and in one moment he'd be crying, laughing, and you'd be crying, laughing, and the next moment you were crying real tears because touching
Okay.
something that hurt him really deeply. And I
Yeah.
mean, it was just amazing this journey you go through uh, when you talk to my dad. And my friends who came over would experience that. We'd be in high school, for instance, ready to go out, and I'd be a little late getting ready to go out, and my friends would be in my dad's room, and he'd be entertaining. you know,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
Dad was that type of person, and of course, Mom had that flair of being an entertainer. Um, Dad, of course, ended up, like you said, teaching and was a professor at U of L eventually. So I had all of these, um, this big range of who they were.
Right.
Was going to was on the track to be a doctor, or even at one point, a lawyer, or entertained dental school as well.
Okay.
Um, got my degree in biology at U of L, and
Okay.
I was ready. I was working in a laboratory. I was ready to take the MCAT. But if we back up a little bit, I did really well in soccer. Played soccer at Fern Creek and went to France at 14 to represent the United States, and then I set a high school record in soccer for the most goals that lasted for over 2 decades. So soccer was
Whoa.
my thing. So I had a scholarship to U of L. Of course, I was going to go free because of my dad, but I also had a soccer scholarship. But I ended up for you know just being young and not able to handle some of the disappointments of playing collegiate soccer and dealing with not understanding how the coaches' um, uh, methods were, and then the pressure from my dad as well. I quit. So after my
Okay.
first year coming back from the NCAA tournament, I just quit. And I had all of this extra time now, because when you're a college athlete at a D1 school, and you're pre-med, you compartmentalize. So when you're on the bus, you're studying. You're just the whole time. And now I had all this extra time, what felt like extra time, and I took an acting elective at U of L.
Okay.
And Karen Edwards Hunter, God rest her soul, she was incredible. She took me under her wings. At that point, there weren't any black males who were um, drama majors. Uh,
Okay.
and then she introduced me to B. Boyd and Renda Lundstrom, and they all made me leads. Now, I was like, from my parents, I could hold a stage, but I was green. I wasn't refined as an actor, and I
Mhm.
wasn't thinking about pursuing it. But from that came the opportunity to work at Video Bread doing training films. So I did and commercials. So I did Kentucky Fried Chicken training films, and that was incredible because you can make $400 in a weekend, and we're
Okay.
talking $400 for a college student in the '90s, right, and early
Okay.
late '80s, '90s, right. So that's a lot of money. Uh,
Right.
I was like, oh, this is cool. I ended up doing a National Drug Free America commercial, and they were supposed to only use Louisvillians for extras. They had cast it in New York, they had cast it in LA. And long story that I'll make a little shorter, the woman who was producing it from New York liked what I did so much. She said, we want to make you the lead. That didn't work out. But after the end of that commercial, she grabbed me, took me into a trailer. I think we shot it at Atherton, shoves a card in my hand and says, what are you doing in Louisville? Come to New York. I'll manage your career. I left with $700 in a dream, to my father's dismay, because he wanted me to be a doctor. Haitians don't play with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my third audition, this again, it just fell out of the sky. They worked me for a while. We auditioned as somebody who didn't have an agent, but I was freelancing with an agent finally, and my third audition with that agent was for Sesame Street. And 5 callbacks later, I was on the show. So I went from, and the agent told my manager, um, he's green. He's talented, but he's green. If he gets something, we'll sign him. She didn't expect me to get it. So,
Okay.
and then of course I got it. She's like, okay, let's sign, of course. And
Right.
and that started my career.
How long were you with Sesame Street?
3 years officially.
Okay.
I started off. We did a special, which was incredible in Central Park with the group. Was it Paul Simon's group? Well, the group that Paul Simon discovered, I should say, in Africa. Ladysmith Black Mambaza. That
Okay.
group. Okay.
Okay.
We did Sing a Song in the middle of Central Park with them and Big Bird and whatever. That was cool. And then I was on the show 93 through 95.
So you were bitten by the bug.
Uh yeah. Again, I was still, I still had options at that time, and I
Yeah.
wasn't. See, unlike most actors, I didn't start out pursuing it to do it professionally.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I was bitten by it, but I also knew that I could do other things, and it didn't really hit me that I was an actor
Right.
um,
It's
until
a wonderful thing to have choices.
whew, well, and I, when I coach students, I tell them, get something else,
Mhm.
have something to fall back on. I thank God I can teach
Right.
in the lean times, because I said, there will be lean times and fat times if you're lucky.
Right.
But
Right.
during those lean times, you need something else to do so that you can pay your bills. And if you have a degree, it makes it a lot easier. So yeah.
I'm of that same mindset,
Hmm.
Juju,
Hmm.
because I dropped out of Kentucky State to go sing with the New Birth.
Wow. Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the New Birth was 17 people,
Okay.
so
Okay.
we didn't make any money. My first royalty check was like $27.
Wow.
I said, "Oh no, this will never do."
Right.
So I went back, got my degree,
Yeah.
so that I wasn't trying to play the starving artist. I was supposed to be a physical therapist.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I majored in health and physical education, and if I'd taken a postgraduate course at Veterans Hospital,
Hmm.
I would have been certified
Wow.
as a physical. And I think about it all the time. I said, well, maybe it's not too late. Maybe I can just go back to school and be a physical therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think about it a lot. Really, it's amazing how much I think about it.
Yeah.
But I understand that it's always good to have something to fall back on,
Hmm.
because I did other things in other places where I've lived aside from singing,
Right.
and that's a good thing,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
So now, over during COVID, you were fortunate enough to be the writer, director, producer of a streaming show. What, By Design?
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Please tell me By Design. How did it come about?
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what. So as you know, so much of this business is about perseverance.
Yeah.
Um, I I have a film I co-wrote with someone about Isaac Murphy. It's called Gentle Jockey,
The Black Jockey. Yes.
and yeah, and it was consult. I got consulted through friends by Danny Glover,
Okay.
and um, he read it and liked it, and he encouraged me to change it a little bit and do some other things. We did, and then the script got optioned in L.A. I was running and had started and was running Fern Creek High School's TV film production department, but um, my script got optioned, and so I went back to LA. And while I was in LA, that didn't work out, as things happen in this industry. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
Had that person who was going to produce it didn't come through in ways that he thought he could, um, and I wrote something else.
Okay.
And there was a producer here
Let
in.
me ask you a question.
Sure, sure.
Isn't that where I met you, Juju? Was at Fern Creek? I was substitute teaching.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
was trying to remember where we
Yeah.
met. I'm saying you said Fern Creek. I'm saying That's where I met him. I went down. I came. You showed me your whole studio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Cause I was amazed
yeah.
at they had
I
that
know.
kind of program.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I again was really fortunate to put that together. I mean, we got funded for all of that equipment, and I literally built it from scratch.
Wow.
And then
Do they
from
still have it?
they do.
Oh,
Someone else
wonderful.
is doing it now. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay. But you started it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so I ended up back here because there was a producer in town who said uh, he could help raise funds for a project. That led to about a year and a half of waiting for funding.
Yeah.
And there was a financier I was talking to who
Hmm.
said he had 500 grand for a project. And that's a lot of money. And I never asked anybody for that kind of money. And I was on eggshells. Like I didn't want to mess it up. But he'd blow off a meeting every once in a while. And I mean, it was almost like a game. And
Right.
finally, I got enough courage in 2018. And told him, if you can't give me the funds, if you can't deliver the funds if you can't make a decision by next week, I'm going to find somebody else. And I didn't have anybody else. but uh, but
You had to bluff a little bit.
but he didn't deliver. I said okay, and I wrote down what my 2019 was going to be. Literally wrote it down what my 2019 was going to be. I wrote down how many investors I was going to meet. I wrote down all these things that were going to happen out of faith, and it's amazing how looking at something like that in the morning, looking at something like that in the night, adjusting it as you gain those goals or as goals don't become as important. It's amazing how much that can affect you and how you can see opportunities to manifest those things that you've written down.
Right.
And I've always said it that it's movement that creates opportunity, but sitting on the platform waiting for someone else to engineer your train is never going to work.
No.
You got to get on that train and engineer it. It's like the train is the movement and the tracks are the opportunities. And every once in
There's
a while,
a
go ahead.
there's a saying that I have a calendar that has quotes for every day of the year. And it
Yeah,
says, good things come to those who wait, but not as quickly as those who go out and get them.
love it. Yes, yes, it's so true. And that I really manifested by
Okay.
because movement can be writing something and putting that action in
Right.
your head. So and then I started seeing these opportunities. They became clearer if something was an opportunity. Some people have never asked to help me fund a project. All of a sudden I saw them as opportunities, and I saw them as, you know what, this would be something that would mutually help us because I believe in these projects. And it got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting around for money.
Right.
Can I create I asked what I call the impossible question. And I said, can I create a project for nothing? That was the impossible question. And this,
French kiss.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. In this industry, you can't do that. But I said, and so then and I talked to a friend of mine, Nathaniel R.A. Spencer, and I told him about the idea to do a series. Let's do a TV show, make it short. Make it about 40 minutes. So so it's bingeable, and we could shoot over a long weekend. So if people do the work, if they come in and they do the work as actors, they do the work as crew, it won't take up some other paying gig, and maybe we can tell them, hey, we'll do it on deferment. When the money comes in, we'll pay you. If
Right.
this here,
Right.
we'll pay you. And he said, yeah. I was like, okay. And then I called another guy, uh, Rolf Deakins, who's an international Emmy nominated cinematographer who had wanted to work on the other project. And I said, hey, man, here's a scenario. I got this script. I don't have any money, but I think it's a good script. And I think I can get some actors. Would you do it? And again, he blew me away by saying, Juju, I just want to work with you. Oh, my God. That guy, to hear that from him, that was amazing. And
Yeah.
he read the script, loved it. He flew from the Netherlands on his own dime to shoot the project for nothing. I took nothing, and my other producer took nothing, but everybody else was paid top dollar because once that train started moving, all of a sudden people wanted to invest. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Really?
Crazy. It was started with everybody saying, "Hey, I think this might be deferment, or this is going to be deferment." To
Now you use the word deferment, but back in the day, we used to say you do something on spec.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that right? That's
Basically,
the same thing you mean. It means
basically,
as if we get money for this, I
yeah,
will be able to pay you.
yeah. Basically, I mean that's what it was. But
Yeah.
again, that blessing is that once that train started moving, you know, Nathaniel's family, my friends, like people started saying, "I believe in this too." And so we shot the pilot for By Design, um, and it was 5 stars before we had a few haters, but that's going to happen. But it's uh, it's been 4 stars on Amazon for over a year, and
Wow.
and we are now in talks to finish the series. We did our pilot episode, and it's been well received. There's proof of concept, and now we're talking to some funders about finishing the show, as
Oh,
I'm working on
wonderful.
some other projects too. So that's By Design. Yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah,
And everybody they can watch it now. It's
yeah.
Amazon
Amazon Prime.
Prime
Uh-huh. By Design.
by design.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
if they put in my name, that will help because there's something else, one or two other things that are By Design, but if they put in Juju Papaye and By
Juju
Design,
Papaye.
Google search, it'll come up.
Yeah, and y'all have to be able to spell Papaye,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
that's wonderful because uh I was thinking because I came to you with the project that I did with no money
yeah.
when I was living in France, and because it's kind of difficult to find like-minded people like in a place like Louisville.
Hmm.
So there's you, there's Nate.
Hmm.
Nate's he's editing the documentary about it. Started out about my life,
Wow,
but it ended up about my mother,
wow,
my caregiving for my
hmm,
mother,
wow.
because it saw her the progression
Hmm.
for she had dementia,
Hmm.
and it saw the progression and how I somewhat stepped away from singing.
Hmm.
I had a good life. I have no complaints. I didn't make great big bucks and all that kind of stuff, because it's just like you said in the film industry. You're waiting for somebody to tell you. I said I didn't need for somebody to validate the fact that I could sing.
Right.
Okay. So because I didn't have a recording contract, then I'm not getting ready to make that the focus, because that's where somebody's got to say, well, we'll sign you.
Hmm.
I said, so when I started performing, I just really figured out I'm a performing artist. I'm not a recording artist. The
Wow.
essence of who I am is when you see me
Hmm. Hmm.
live and in living color.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I do.
then no one else has to validate my talent.
Hmm.
So then I was able to go around the world with my music,
Hmm.
where some people sitting there waiting to take the right song and the demo to somebody to say you're good. Somebody else says, no, we can't, not right now. Making all these, like you said, the promises, just hold on for a minute. No,
Hmm.
man, wait, broke the bridge down, so it's show business and entertainment and the arts. It's it's not for the faint of heart, and it takes tenacity,
Hmm.
and you have to have the stick to itiveness.
Hmm.
You can't say I'm going to do it in a couple of weeks. It's not turning out like you want. Well, I was in Las Vegas for 3 years before I got into position to start doing the things I wanted to do, and that was even just to sing backup for somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Um, it's a lot of things that I think our youth here need to. They need people like you and like me,
Hmm.
who say, "Well, we come from Louisville,
Hmm.
and if we're able to do this, because and nobody gave us a book,
Hmm.
nobody taught
No,
us
no.
how to, huh?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
What'd you say?
I said, yeah, you're right. No, no one gave a book.
But
Yeah.
you're taking the class at U of L in drama, and then it just opened your eyes up to something else. I
Hmm.
mean, my mother thought I could sing.
Hmm.
I was an athlete. I'm,
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of similarities here.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
there are.
I
Yeah.
was an athlete. I wanted to be Wilma Rudolph
Wow.
until this little girl smoked me in the Mason Dixon games. And I said, well, that's enough of that. And I decided I don't play games that I can't win at.
Ooh, I like that.
So that's what, if I know that I'm good at this, then if I think I can do it in my head, and when I go to sleep at night and I dream about it and I wake up the next day, I've seen the whole thing,
Yeah. Wow.
so um, it's very, it has to be very fulfilling to you to have been able to, especially during COVID.
Yeah. That see that um again, the things I've seen happen to me and I've seen happen to others, um but definitely in my life, the quote unquote biggest things for me have happened when I wasn't expecting them.
Right.
Um I've I've like I said, like going down that track
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while, God, the engineer, will turn that track and you'll go around a bend that you couldn't see what was around there.
Yeah.
And it will be bigger than what you imagined. And that has happened to me over and over again. Sesame Street was like that, but by design was like that too, because um so we shoot it and COVID hits. And I mean the industry died. And here I was with this project, and I had investors who invested, and I didn't know if anybody would ever see the project. I, in writing down the things that I had written in 2018,
Right.
um, I had written things that also encouraged me, like I'm enough. You know, I am the oyster. I believe we can say the world is the oyster, but if we do, we're always looking to the world somewhere outside of us to get what we need. But if
Mm-hmm.
we are the oysters, then we choose who and what to share our pearls with.
Ah,
Right? So I
and
say,
give your pearls to the swine.
yeah, exactly. Why would we do that? So I say I'm the oyster. As I say that to the people I coach, you're the
Mhm.
oyster. So I went, okay, I'm enough. I'm the oyster. Um, and I said, but you know what? There's no reason for me to panic then. No matter where I am, I'm good. And
Yeah.
I got out of my head and I got out of my selfishness and I called a friend who's a producer in LA, and I genuinely called her to see how she was doing because everybody was panicking. I said, "How are you?" And she goes, "Juju," she said, "I'm busy." I said, "Busy? How are you
Mhm.
busy?" She said, "Well, because of COVID, everybody needs content." And I was going to start this platform with this gentleman, and in 5 months, but we decided to start it now. And as a matter of fact, your show might be great for our platform. Can I share it with him? I said, of course. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But you know how the industry is.
Right.
Okay, whatever. Great. Thank you. That's flattering, but I doubt if it'll happen. Literally within a few days, by that Wednesday, she's like, "We want to sign. Do you want can we have your show?" So while most people have nothing during COVID, I'm getting a show launched on a platform, which was crazy. Um, so yeah, that it was another one of those things that fell out of the sky. But I believe if you diligently move towards something,
Mhm.
then other
If you
opportunities.
keep moving.
Got
Just
to keep
keep
moving.
moving.
I keep moving.
Don't stop. I mean, even though I when I was taking care of my mom,
Yeah.
I'm rewriting French Kiss.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm gonna give you just a taste of this. French Kiss has gone from French Kiss 2
Okay. Okay.
has gone from a love affair uh, between the United States and Paris
Yeah.
and France.
Yeah.
French Kiss has gone to after the debacle of the orange guy and our relationship with our allies. Now
Uh-huh.
listen to this. Now the Queen of France and will always be because if you notice they just honored Josephine.
Okay.
Did you
Okay.
see that?
I did not see that. Okay.
Okay, they just Josephine is the only African American
Yeah.
that received full honors
Wow.
by the French government when she died
Wow.
because she was a soldier. She was a French soldier. She
Mm.
was part of the resistance.
Mm.
She carried messages to the Allies
Mm-hmm.
written in invisible ink on the back of her music.
Wow. Wow.
Josephine.
Wow.
Okay. So now I see that the NATO allies are looking at us crazy, saying, man, who y'all got running y'all's country now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got nothing but women that come to a summit. They come from France, they come from Germany, they come from UK,
Mm-hmm.
they come from the US. So I'm getting our allies back together, but women are going to bring us back together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had Angela Merkel because I respect her.
Yeah.
And then I had the Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
Okay. Then I have the Statue of Liberty. She starts out in that drape, but Statue of Liberty came from Paris. It was a gift
Yeah.
to the United States from France.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it makes you. I had to do my history, my studying, and all these types of things. So now, and then we end up with Kamala.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
said, "Oh, we're getting ready to sign this treaty all over again." But nothing but women made it happen.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's my French kiss too. So I'm saying
Yeah.
I was looking after my mom and my time when I had to myself, I would write. I would just keep writing and just keep doing things that, kept me inspired and
Right.
excited about life
Mm-hmm.
because I'm watching it change. I'm watching my mom. I'm glad. I can't say I'm glad. I lost my mother before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And once COVID hit, I am really glad that my mother didn't have to go through that
Mm-hmm.
because I think that would have been frightening for her.
Mm-hmm.
But Nate doing the documentary, I'm going full circle because I got to get off of me and get back to you, Juju. It was about me, and then it ends up being honor thy mother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. It was like she was the star of this documentary. She is the star of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever when we get it finished editing and released. But I'm rooting for you
Thank you.
to keep on keeping on and making things happen. And your attitude, it's you have to be positive to be in this arena,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where you like you say you got to wait on the money and somebody says I'll be there. I can fund this and you're waiting and you're waiting and you don't want to seem like you're being pushy. But somebody got you on hold.
Yeah.
It got
Yeah.
you can have a lot of people on lockdown,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting because I met with a producer a couple weeks ago when I was out in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you heard about it. The movie The Banker.
I'm not sure. I may have.
Samuel L. Jackson and what's his name, Anthony Mackie. They
Okay.
were black bankers, but they had a white man to front for them.
Oh, okay. It's a period piece.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they got me too 2 days before the movie premiered.
Oh no.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, my friend was just devastated.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was so devastated. I wanted to cry
Wow.
because it was one producer that a woman made an allegation about something he'd done 47 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, all the twists and turns that come in life,
Yeah.
we are not in control, but we can just keep acting like we're driving something
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get where we want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, what would you say? How do you see that our city has grown with the arts? And how do you see our city now dealing with um, um, social injustices in this city? How do you see where where do you see Louisville is right now?
That's a a very it's an important question. It's one that uh, stirs a lot of emotions.
Mm.
Having grown up here, having integrated my neighborhood, literally, we integrated my little neighborhood. Um,
Where was that neighborhood?
out in Fern Creek,
In Fern Creek.
Fern Creek,
Okay.
Bridgetown borderline. Yeah, you know, it is in a lot of ways. I mean, to be honest, I have had a love hate relationship over the years with Louisville, um,
Okay.
because at times I feel like we're making progress. At times I feel like we go back to where we
Yeah.
were. And with Breonna Taylor, it felt like we went back again.
Yeah.
So that's why, that it pulls on so many heartstrings. I don't know. I really don't know the answer. I think that, some of the things that happened around Breonna Taylor um, were ironically a wonderful example of the human condition, how people can come together of different walks of life and fight for justice. So I
Right.
have to say, and the most of the people that we saw with George Floyd and all the things that were happening that infamous summer, um, I I say, as much as I thought we were being urged to divide by the quote unquote leaders of this country,
Okay.
um, we also got to see that there were many people, most of the people who were marching were not of color,
No.
who were coming out to say this is enough. And
Yeah.
so on one hand, I was scared for the country. And on the other hand, I went, well, wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. When you see people who get it, who are not of color.
Right.
And that gave me hope.
Right.
So, and that a lot of that happened here. So I
Right.
got to say, I still have that hope that we'll turn that corner and never go back. The problem, what I've seen, I many years ago, um, I had a little when again we have similar backgrounds. Before I went to New York, I had I had a little group and I had copywritten 80 songs. And one of those songs we did, was called Back to the Future. And that's what I think I've seen over and over again in this country, that
Right.
we seem to make steps forward and then it ends up back, Rodney King again. I think the thing that people don't understand about racism, if they're not of color and haven't experienced it, is that you get re-traumatized every time something happens. Like the worst
Yeah.
thing about racism is that it's not just what happens in the moment. It's that it puts something there, maybe even throughout your body, that stays with you. It's like
Mhm.
it's in your DNA once you experience that kind of injustice. And
Right.
then when something like a George Floyd comes up, everything you've ever experienced comes back. Like that's the problem. Like it's PTSD. That's what I really meant to say earlier. It's PTSD, and you experience it again. So that's why that concept of Back to the Future really sticks with me because
Mhm.
it happens again, and I'm like, come on, are you serious? Are we still questioning whether or
Yeah,
not somebody who has somebody on his neck for over 8 minutes, whether or not that was justified?
yeah.
Real
You know, it makes me think. Uh, I was traumatized. I had to admit to myself that because I carry those kinds of emotions easily, and they are evoked in me when I see somebody filming something on Facebook that's way out of line. I go back to Spike Lee's movie, and at the end of the movie, do you remember what was it? School Days.
uh, what happens?
At the end of the movie, he says, "Wake up."
Okay, yeah,
You remember that?
I do
Now
remember
you were bust. Were you bust, or were you still able to walk to Fern Creek?
that. Well, I didn't go to elementary school, Wheeler. I could walk because I lived 200 feet away from that school.
Okay, okay.
But
Were
but
you
but
bust in high school?
uh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, but it was still close. But yes, but um, but yeah. No, I didn't. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I guess again when you use that term, I don't know that I wasn't bussed really out of my neighborhood.
Ah, okay,
So I
okay,
can't say I was bussed in that
okay,
sense. I
okay.
took a bus, but it wasn't the same. But the thing that, again, experiences that people don't realize, I was, we were fortunate in that we were very well received by our neighbors. But those microaggressions and that subtle racism that they didn't even realize they had maybe would come
Mm-hmm.
out, and some of them
Mm-hmm.
didn't care. I had a neighbor, one of my best friends right across the street. His dad sent him and their kids down to the corner. Him and his siblings down to the corner with stop busing signs, and they were talking about me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when we would
Your
go,
friends.
yeah, and when we would go to J Town, uh, my family, I remember rocks getting thrown at the car if you didn't honk against busing. Then they throw rocks at your car. So these are things that, again, people don't realize
Yeah, that they
uh,
happen.
that people may have gone through. And when people carry that PTSD, people again, that's small compared to maybe things you went through, and I know it's small compared to things my mom went through. But I'm saying it all it's all similar types of things from the
It's all
same
connected.
from the
It's all
same
connected.
from the same sickness. You
It's
know,
all connected. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Well, Juju, I want to say that I'm very proud of you. I'm proud to know you.
yeah.
And I'm going to be your cheerleader forever and a day. Um,
Appreciate
and
that.
I was really glad that it came back to me when you said that you taught at Fern Creek. I'm saying
Yeah,
that's where we met, you know.
yeah,
Uh, but it's really nice to visit
yes,
with a Louisvillian who now you're based here and in LA. Is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And you know, that's I used to say I didn't like LA years ago when I lived there. It was too pretentious for
Yeah.
me at that time. Now I could live in LA.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not LA. I could live in Palm Springs. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really nice to catch up with and really know the depth of your story, even though we met years ago. And this was when I came back home. So I've known you since about 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
You
That makes
lived you lived up in Smoketown,
yeah. Uh-huh. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's where I came and met with you one day.
Yeah.
But it's I just wanted my audience to know Juju Papier. Now, you may have heard the name Papier, aside from if you went to Shawnee and took French,
Right. Right.
or you took classes from his dad at U of L. But there's Christy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Christy's still with Actors Theater.
No, now she's teaching
Oh, she was at Central.
well, she was at Actors and then Central, but she is teaching at a college in San Bernardino now. So she's yeah.
Shut up. Now look,
Mhm.
she left the roost.
Yeah, she did.
San Bernardino.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, hmm
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
last time I spoke with Christy, she was going to do a musical.
hmm
And she talked about maybe having, I don't know if I was going to, she wanted me to be in it or just come to talk to the class.
hmm
I think it had something to do with Pearlie because I played Lutie Bill
Oh
years ago
wow.
in Pearlie.
Yeah.
I think she did. She was waiting to get, you know, all the rights to do the play and all of that
Mhm.
at Central.
Okay.
But tell her I wish her the best as well.
I will.
I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Are you going to be here for Christmas? Or are you going to go back
I
out
will.
west?
Yeah, yeah. I will be in Louisville for the rest of the holidays. Yeah.
Okay, so we might be able to get together.
I'd
Some.
like that. I'd like that. I still want to work with you. So if we can find funding for your project, I would love to do it because you're wonderful. You're just amazingly talented, and I love French Kiss. I love the story. Again, this is about lining things up. So maybe this is
Right.
our time.
Maybe this is our time. You
I
never
do
know.
believe that the things that are lining up now, that 2022, summer of 2022, will be a fruitful time. So let's see what we
I'm
can.
planning on it.
Yeah. hmm
I'm planning on it, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, have a good evening. Have a blessed evening. I
Yes.
know it's dinner time, so now you can go have dinner because I'm going to go have dinner.
Okay. All
But
right.
thank you for being my guest.
Thank you. My pleasure. You have a
And
good
if
one.
you when you get by design
Yeah.
season 2
Yeah.
coming back up, come back on and maybe let everybody know here at home what's going on with it.
I absolutely will.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
darling. Take care of
All right.
yourself.
Okay. All right.
Have a
Bye.
good evening. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Juju Papier. All right. Oh, that was nice to really revisit with him again. Yeah, I had forgotten that I met him when I was substitute teaching at Fern Creek one day. But another thing I want to make mention, I lost a dear friend. She was in Chicago. I met her. She's from Chicago. I met her in Las Vegas, 1997. And she's become a victim of COVID. And she passed away 2 days ago, Marsha Cole. And I just want to do a shout out for my girlfriend because she was like a cut buddy. She and I we met. She moved from Las Vegas to St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, and I was on a cruise ship singing for a friend's birthday, and we spent the day in St. Thomas at the beach, and Marsha flew over and spent the day with us. She and I went to the first inauguration for President Obama. And then I met her once down in Atlanta. She had come back over from St. Croix to spend some time in Atlanta with her daughter. But she was a go-getter. I loved her hustle. She had real show enough hustle. And she backed it up. If she said she was going to do it, she was going to do it. So God rest her soul. And my prayers go out to her family, Kai, Cecily, and Janine. My heart is with you. So it's dinner time. Yes, it's dinner time. Guess who's coming to dinner? We're going to have some more Louisvillians that live in other places. We've got a confirmation on Dr. Reverend Robert Bugs Wilkins will be our guest on the 20th of this month. That's a Monday. I was trying to have Miss Teresa Ratliff and Miss Rosalind Ratliff on before the end of the year, but the girls said they was gonna bring the new year in, so that's how we'll do that one. And like I said, I'm hoping to be able to have the interview about Roots 101 Museum, so we can take a tour. So during the holidays, you can go to the museum, take your family, see some of all the different rooms, and from slavery on to the who's who in Louisville today. So bon appetit, enjoy your meal. Happy holidays. Get the tree up. Next time I'll have my tree up. If the babies come over and help me, I got to have some kids around me to do stuff like that. So take care. Talk to you soon. All right. Okay. I did something. I was trying to see who that was. Oh, well, la-di-da. Gotta go.